Seen a lot of innings, been the go-to ace pitcher for this Florida team.
There have only been 8 home runs in the SEC tournament combined so far. We are ready for some more. Perhaps Georgia and Florida for the 4th time this season. And Dallas Goodnight takes ball 1 as we're underway at 10:32 here in Auburn, Alabama. Plate umpire for our first full game, second game in part today, is Smokey Eds. Marty Abzetian's down at first, Tom Meyer at third. Goodnight, a second team All-SEC pick. Has had a terrific year in the SEC. And over the last month plus, she solidified herself as a Georgia leadoff hitter. It'll be Goodnight, Champley, and Kearney for a super experienced Georgia team. On the corner, 2-2.
You notice Jocelyn Erickson back there framing up that pitch in terms of best framing for catchers in the country. Jocelyn Erickson is one of the best, and also a left-handed catcher too, framing up that outside pitch to a left-handed hitter across her body. Works really well. Sophomore Erickson, I mean, how great of a get was that in the portal for Tim Walton to get Jocelyn Erickson from Oklahoma, inserts her back behind the plate. She wanted to catch more and then becomes SEC Player of the Year.
On 3-2, Goodnight slams it foul. Nearly took out her teammate Sid Chambly in the on-deck circle. She seems unfazed. 7th pitch from number 7. And Rothrock gets her looking. Inside corner. Little frame job from Erickson to help. An acknowledgement between pitcher and catcher, the game's first down.
This pitch is more over-the-top rotation, like a drop ball, dropping it down to 61 miles an hour. And you see Rothrock more so go up in the zone with her rise. That's what she's known for. But that drop ball froze Goodnight. A little bit of off speed.
Strike 1 to Sydney Chambly. Georgia picked to finish second in the SEC in the preseason. They were 1 vote away from first place Tennessee, but they finish in 7th. Chambly with the ground ball right back to Rothrock. Feeds Ava Brown, the other key Florida pitcher, who's at first base today, for a quick second out. So Keegan Rothrock has been the leader of this Gator staff for a Florida team which did not return a single solitary inning pitch from last year. 340 innings. Rothrock's thrown 186 2/3. Brown 110 1/3. It's really a 2-person show. And it's Rothrock to get the ball first here in the postseason, with a couple of strikes quickly to Jada Kearney.
Both those pitchers, and Ava Brown and Rothrock, highly recruited. See Ava Brown play first base too when she's not pitching, and hit with some pop too.
Out of Whiteland, Indiana, Keegan Rothrock. She and Brown were 2 of the top pitchers in the nation. Both commit to Tim Walton in Florida, one of the winningest programs in Division I in the Tim Walton era. Second fastest Division I head coach to 1,000 wins, behind former Arizona legend Mike Candrea. He's won the SEC tournament 5 times. It's been 5 years. And his Florida team has a real shot to do it again, especially with the top seed Tennessee already out of the mix. Still 1-2 for Kearney.
Yeah, I think for everybody left in the tournament, seeing Tennessee out of the tournament gives everybody a feeling like, hey, we can win it. We have a chance. Top seed's out. Like, we have a chance to win this whole thing.
Pretty unusual to be sitting here First of all, it's unusual to be sitting here on Friday and have 2 quarterfinals to go. It's also unusual to be sitting here in the quarterfinals and have Tennessee and Alabama both out of the mix, historically speaking. Both taken out by LSU, the 8th seed. Rothrock misses outside, and a good at-bat by Jada Kearney, who hit that game-tying 3-run homer in the 14th inning on Wednesday night. Going to see a 9th pitch from the freshman of the year. And Rothrock strikes her out. Keegan Rothrock starts and ends the inning the way she starts and ends her name.
Just freezing these hitters. She's going more low in the zone. Rothrock.
Offense in the league and one of the best in the nation. And Kendra Falby starts the game by slapping a ground ball to short. She's thrown out by Ellie Armistead. That's a 1-pitch out for Lily Backus in the circle for Georgia in Game 2 of their SEC tournament.
And Lily Backus coming over from UNC, got her in the transfer portal, but a huge addition to this Georgia pitching staff because of the fact that she comes from the left-hand side and she can take on a lot of innings. Pitched a lot of innings at UNC, and they've used her a lot here at Georgia this season.
Backus got the start on Wednesday night. 6 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned, walked and struck out 3 each through 111 pitches. Nobody's thrown more games in the SEC this year. And she misses high to Corby Otis. Corby Otis had credentials that in maybe any other league in America would have garnered her Player of the Year. A ridiculous 1,324 OPS mark. Jocelyn Erickson, her teammate, won it in the 4 spot, but I'm guessing Otis got some votes. She had a special season, leading the SEC in average on-base percentage and walks. And she has owned Lily Backus, went 5 for 6, 4 extra base hits and a walk against her. Lily's 3-1. And Otis takes one at the knees for strike 2. It was a thumbs up to Smokey Eds after that called strike. There's ball 4. Another walk for Otis, her 51st to lead the SEC.
Lily Backus in the circle. This is what she's going to throw. Likes to go to her rise ball and also a drop ball. Could also call that a curve. It drops and curves, but then that changeup is her bread and butter. She can locate that pitch inside and low to these left-handed hitters. Gets a lot of swings and misses on that pitch. That changeup is a pitch that she wants these hitters to chase. And when you look at her swing and miss, or her swinging strike heat map, this changeup look low in the zone, gets hitters to chase it out of the zone.
Out.
All the numbers are good. 32% usage, a 36% whiff rate, by far her best swing and miss pitch, 153 batting average against, and throws it for a strike more than 2/3 of the time. Up and into Skylar Wallace for ball 2.
It's the thing that you know about facing Florida is they are so patient at the plate. Draw a lot of base on balls, also hit by pitches, a lot of free passes.
Ball up.
And they've been like that for years. When you think of Florida's offense, you think of just a really good strike zone awareness that Tim Walton has coached for years and years. I mean, they're just so tough to go up against because they just don't chase out of the zone very often.
A 3-1, Wallace drills it. Center field. You wanted dingers, you got them. Skylar Wallace hits one to Gainesville, and the Gators chop Backus with a couple in the first.
Skylar Wallace was right on time with this pitch. Looks like a curveball. It's up in the zone and just over the heart of the plate. Skylar Wallace says thank you and just sends it to dead center field. An absolute no-doubter off of her bat, last year's SEC Player of the Year, because of doing things like this with her speed and clutchness. She's been like that her whole career.
And the top scoring team in the SEC is on the board with home run number 11 from Skylar Wallace. Hey, Skylar Wallace, a .377 hitter. She's over .390 against lefties. So don't think, if you're a pitcher, you ever have the platoon advantage against Wallace. And it's 2-0 before the SEC Player of the Year even comes to bat. That's how ridiculously deep this Florida lineup is, with Jocelyn Erickson, who's driven in 70 in 55 games. OPS of 1185. That's going to go down as Erickson pops out to Kuma.
Her exit velocity, Skylar Wallace's on this home run, was, you knew it was gone. I mean, let that pitch get deep. I mean, just absolutely right on time for that pitch. 3-1 count, hitters count. Skylar Wallace looking to hit.
Now Reagan Walsh, who has the second best slugging percentage in the SEC, being cheered on by Wallace, who's homered in back-to-back games. Blows a Texas A&M series with a long ball. Florida swept the Aggies to clinch the number 2 seed in a meeting of 2 and 3 to end the regular season. Gainesville.
Ball.
Yeah, really in April and beginning of May, Skylar Wallace had her struggles too, but well, it felt like actually maybe in the beginning of May started to work through them, and then really started to work through it at the Texas A&M series when she had a couple of key hits in that series.
A 6-year senior who started at Alabama. Was the SEC Player of the Year last season. We're at 2 now for Reagan Walsh. Skylar Wallace's leadership has grown at her time at Florida. Her expectations have been high. Her teammates have risen to meet those. She's met them. A ground ball to short by Reagan Walsh. There were 15 home runs in the regular season.
Hey, Coach Walton told me before the game her recruitment was tough. She was heavily recruited.
Well done.
But at 11 years old, she had better spin on the ball than a lot of college pitchers he had seen at that point. And obviously now she's absolutely crushing it in the SEC.
And we actually ran into Keegan and her parents leaving the game yesterday, and her dad was talking about that spin that she has and how difficult she is to catch. And I love that story about her pitching in the backyard and breaking all the things, because her mom, Laura, said that she wasn't always the best pitcher on her team. But when she was younger, she played for a team called the Indiana Gators, and actually had the same orange and blue colors as this Gators team. And what she did was she looked up to see which college teams had the Gator as their mascot. And you might not know this, fun fact, there's only one. It's the Florida Gators. And so at that point, that's when she decided, I want to be a Florida Gator at a young age, pitching in 10U. And how cool of a story for her to get here and then have the year that she's had to be the SEC Freshman of the Year.
Can you only imagine if that team was named the Indiana Bulldogs? Indiana Crimson Tide.
Well, the Bulldogs would have a couple of options.
It's true.
Mississippi State, Georgia. I feel like I might be missing one.
How the winds might have shifted in the SEC. But here is Rothrock, and here she is with a 2-0 lead in her first SEC tournament game. Working on first team All-SEC Sarah Mosley. And Rothrock walks her. Mosley's the first Bulldog base runner
Seen her get a ton of innings this year, ever since February. I mean, she's throwing in the SEC series, game 1 and game 3, sometimes coming in relief in game 2. And Coach Walton told us she hasn't always been perfect, but what she's learned to do is learn how to compete and also win with just okay stuff against good teams.
Strike one to Sydney Kuma. Tim Walton has never had to reassemble a staff like this. 5 pitchers a season ago, all departed from Florida this year. Elizabeth Hightower had a decorated career in Gainesville. Riley Trilicek, Lexi Delbry among them. They threw 369 and 2/3 innings as a staff. They lost all 369 and 2/3 of them. And Tim said to us this week, it would have been nice to get one more pitcher in there, to get another transfer maybe. He's had to ask these freshmen for a lot, but they want the ball, and Keegan Rothrock in particular, so much tougher, Tim said, than when they got her. That ball fisted to shortstop. It'll be caught by Wallace to retire Kuma.
I thought it was interesting, Kevin, to hear her dad just talk about how much spin she has on her pitches and how that makes her so difficult to catch. But then from a hitter's perspective, how difficult she is to square up because of that spin and her ability to spin the ball in different ways and manipulate her speed as well.
Yeah, Dad said he has a warning for bullpen catchers that caught Keegan Rothrock. You might want to wear a mask because her ball moves a little bit differently than anybody that they've ever caught. Working on Sarah Gordon, the Georgia catcher here, the hero from last night. Or from Wednesday night, beg your pardon, when Gordon was 0 for 6 before that game-winning home run in the 14th.
Hey, remember that one SEC tournament that had 2 14-inning games in the same day? Do you remember that?
Is that 2021?
May have happened then too, because we have a lot of extra inning games, but it actually happened here.
What, really?
Guys, before the game, I truly walked up to Tony Baldwin and I was like, congratulations on the win yesterday. What a game. He was like, wait, did you guys play? Hold on. What day is it? Where are we? What's happening? He said, you know, the break was nice for the pitchers, but they did have some good momentum from that game, really looking to carry it into today.
Alyssa, question for you. Do you know what day it is?
No.
Okay.
I don't know where I am. I don't know how I got here this morning, honestly.
And you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Alyssa has been brilliantly pulling double duty this week, by the way. And the early favorite for SEC tournament MVP, Alyssa Lang, who's been hosting, who's been reporting for us. The other favorites for MVPs, all of our camera operators, our technicians, our engineers, all of our staff members who've been here. That ball popped up toward first and foul. This is a lot of fun for us. We all really enjoy this. It is work. It is a labor of love, and it has definitely been a labor for our crew who have been here for 4 games in a day. Today, a lot of them are going to be here for parts of 5 games in a day. Epic delays, lightning, seeking shelter in the area. There's a ghost behind that RoboCam. You have no idea. It seems like it's unmanned, but it's not. We have the greatest crew in sports, and we're so appreciative of everything they've done. And if you know anybody on the crew, or if you're just here and don't, just go say hi to somebody. Say thank you for the job they've done this week, because it really is our privilege to get to bring some softball to you and to show off some nice hats as well.
Amazing job.
Still 3-2 here. Sarah Gordon finally puts one in play. And Kendra Falby's there with the sunglasses on in center field.
And one more brag too on our crew.
Yeah.
How they do the first game is how they do the last game, even if there's 2 extra games with 2 14-inning games, or 2 14-inning games mixed in the mix. Like, they work just as hard in any number 1 as any number 42, as we played 42 innings on Wednesday. It was, yeah, Wednesday.
We played 6 games.
Yes.
There were 4 games, but there were really 6 games because 2 14-inning games, set and then tied the SEC tournament record in the same day. Jaden Fields, designated player for Georgia today, did not have the start on Wednesday night. And there for Lindy Ray Davis. She's been around a long time with UGA, her 6th year with the program. I think Jaden Fields is always going to go down in Georgia lore. 2021, when Georgia snapped Oklahoma's epic win streak, Jaden Fields had the walk-off hit. UGA beat OU, their first loss of the year that season. Redshirted in 19, played a little bit in 2020. She was really good against Florida this year, perhaps part of the reasoning for Tony Baldwin to get her back in the lineup. 3 for 7 with a couple of home runs.
Really interesting story. Last year, she went to Tony Baldwin and told him, I don't think I want to play anymore. I'm just ready to get started doing journalism. Wanted to make the most of last season being her last season. But then 2/3 into the season, she went to Tony and said, actually, I was talking to my brother, and he said if he could do it all over again, he would stay in college. Her brother being Justin Fields. And so she decided that she wanted to come back this year and be a part of this team and still just live out the college memes and be a part of this Georgia team that has so many seniors who have been here for quite a long time.
Live out the college, what did you say?
Memes.
The memes?
Yeah, you know, the memories. Thanks for the memories.
Okay.
Who sings that song?
That's Fall Out Boy.
There you go.
Yeah, there are no vowels in the title for some reason. It's true. They do weird things in their song names. Second team All-SEC a year ago. Justin on the Steelers now. And Jaden's got a walk. 2 in the inning for Georgia. Looking to answer that Florida 2-run first with a couple of base runners against Keegan Rothrock. The only freshman in the starting lineup, Emily Digby. Digby first pitch swinging in the air to Kistler and right. Katie Kistler puts it away. Took a little while, but it's a shutdown. And Florida State. There were 2 other Division I series with 15 home runs. UTSA Charlotte and of course Akron against Miami, Ohio. Had to be Miami, Ohio in there, who's had an insane power hitting season. The selection show is this Sunday. You'll be on it from Bristol. And whenever Miami, Ohio's name pops up, the seeded team in that regional may get some chills down their spine. They are the scary mid-major, or maybe the trendy scary mid-major this year. Sunday night, 7 Eastern, ESPN 2. Ava Brown fouls it away against Lily Backus. .22 pitch first inning for Backus. Walked Otis, gave up a 2-run home run to Skylar Wallace. Now the freshman Brown takes a called strike 3 off speed, and Backus with her first K.
Goes to that changeup, and she brings this pitch up, seeing that Ava Brown wasn't interested in the changeup that was more in the dirt. Great adjustment by Lily Backus, as you can see that Florida trying to eliminate that changeup by not swinging at it, knowing that she wants him to chase it out of the zone.
Ball in.
Senior right fielder Katie Kistler takes ball 1. We've made it to the first spot in the lineup without an All-SEC player, even though Kistler's had an All-SEC type season with a 968 OPS. Extremely productive out of the 7th spot for Florida this year, and a wonderful defensive outfielder too.
You know, Kevin, it's not every day that you pitch against your old pitching coach. Chelsea Dobbins, first-year assistant and pitching coach for Florida, came over from UNC, actually coached Lily Backus at UNC, so you know that she knows her really well.
Kessler with a little pop to second. Kuma's there. Coming up next, our final quarterfinal. It's finally going to happen. Texas A&M, they have been waiting for a long time. Third-seeded Aggies, one win in their SEC tournament history, 1-9. The one was against South Carolina a couple of years ago. Then the Gamecocks beat them last year. Consider this the rubber match. 3-11.
Inside.
The winner of that game gets the winner of this game in the SEC semis, which will be, we think, the fifth and final game today. Ariel Kowalewski, freshman, batting eighth. Kowalewski went 2 for 5 with a home run against Backus in the regular season, one of her 7 long balls.
Ball down.
6 for 15, 7 RBIs over the last 8. One of 3 freshmen batting 6, 8, and 9 in the lineup for Florida.
Another changeup there. Lily Backus continuing to change speeds. Georgia, as a complete pitching staff, by the way, has thrown the most changeups out of any Division I team. Chelsea Wilkinson, their pitching coach, was a former Georgia pitcher, All-American.
In fact, the only time Georgia won the SEC tournament, Chelsea Wilkinson, now the pitching coach, was the MVP back in 2014. Backus's payoff. Kowalewski takes in another changeup, and this one's inside for ball 4, the Gators' second walk.
And I think, too, you see just Chelsea Wilkinson throughout this year, especially with Lily Backus in the circle, that being her best pitch, just not trying to be too predictable with that changeup. You know that teams are going to be knowing that that's a pitch that she favors and sitting on that pitch and what count she likes to throw it in. There's so much information on these pitchers and what they like to throw and win.
Mia Williams, left field. One pitch after the walk. Backus throws a scoreless second. Winners in the SEC this year. And look, Tennessee lost yesterday to LSU, but they are still going to be a high seed, probably a top 8 seed. They certainly deserve to be. Still a force to be reckoned with Pickens and Peyton Gottschall. And they'll be well rested for their regional. This ball fly to right center by Ellie Armistead, and a good jump by Katie Kissler, who reels it in. Erickson does not have the best offensive numbers in the league, though her offensive numbers are great. She's driven in 70. Her numbers in SEC play even better than in the non-conference, all top 3. Add in the defense, though, and she really becomes a clear choice. Florida leads the nation in defensive runs saved, and there may be no better defensive catcher in the country than Jocelyn Erickson.
Yeah, actually leads the country as an individual in defensive runs saved, which factors in basically every single defensive statistic, but one of the best framers and third most runs saved, even with her arm, the amount of runners that she's thrown out. So tough to steal against, and it's good to see her back behind the plate. She was behind Kenzie Hansen, remember, at Oklahoma, who's still there this year, and Jocelyn Erickson transferred out, as well as Sophia Nugent transferred out. So 2 catchers left Oklahoma to go to the SEC. But Jocelyn Erickson, the way that she has just worked with this freshman pitching staff, you have to give her a lot of credit for her physical abilities, but also communication.
Left center field, there's Falby. 2 flyouts for Rothrock to begin the third.
Love the way that Coach Walton talked about Jocelyn Erickson and how competitive that she is. He told us that she wants to throw out every runner. She wants every pitch to be a strike. She is just so competitive every single pitch, working hard for this young pitching staff for Florida.
And she's thrown out 11 of 17 attempted base stealers. Ridiculous stuff for a young woman who was the Gatorade Softball Player of the Year in the state of Arizona. Top 10 player in the class, 22 by extra inning softball. Played for the great travel ball program, the Orange County Batbusters. Wins a national championship with Oklahoma. And now the SEC Player of the Year. That's a pretty strong list of accolades for somebody who hasn't even completed their second season of college ball. Sydney Chambly with a pop-up. 3 balls in the air, 3 outs in the air for Keegan Roth. Numbers. She'll bat third in the inning for Florida. Second time through the lineup, and it starts with a bang. Kendra Falby to the gap in left center. Falby not content with one. Slides into second. A leadoff double for the SEC hits leader, who just picked up her 80th knock of the year.
Kendra Falby has been really aggressive in this game, and she has seen 2 pitches, keeps her feet still. First one she slapped in her first AB. This time she swings away for a little bit of power, finds a gap, gets herself to second base.
14 doubles on the year for Falby. That's the second most on the Gator roster. Really special player. 4th in the nation into the week in hits. And now Corby Otis pops one up with a runner at second, nobody out. Otis with a .586 on base percentage is retired by Backus and cannot advance Falby. And we'll see if Skylar Wallace can advance her. Remember, Skylar Wallace has been Kendra Falby's teammate the last 3 years now. This is a very comfortable position for her, though she swings through strike 2. Wallace batting and Falby on base. Skylar Wallace has driven in Kendra Falby 22 times this year. She's driven in Falby individually 54 times in their Gator careers. And when both Falby and Wallace have scored in a game this year, Florida's 29-1. Well, check on the Wallace run. She drove in herself. And there's the fleet of foot Falby out at second. But Wallace strikes out. Terrific sequence by Backus for her second K.
Love the comeback from Lily Backus to get Skylar Wallace out on this rise ball after she hit the home run in her last at bat. And that's a difference that you see in Skylar Wallace, is how teams are pitching her, and also a difference in how she hit the rise ball. Last year she hit the rise ball at a clip of 548. This year that's dropped to 250. Struck her out on the rise ball there.
Do you notice anything in her swing that's changed?
I think she's just getting pitched differently. Seeing more drop balls, more changeup, more down in the zone, and I think that that's making that rise ball look even more effective.
Ball.
For example, last year she only saw 15% of the pitches were a drop ball, but this year that's doubled to 30% of the pitches that she's seen have been a drop ball.
Well, Backus has been terrific since that first inning home run, trying to hold Falby at second.
Foul.
That got the knob of Erickson. It's strike 2. Tim Walton will join Alyssa at the end of this inning with a lead of at least 2 runs in his pocket.
You just think about all these new faces that Coach Walton has added to this roster with a couple of transfers, and Otis and Erickson. Not very many coaches, if any, can say that they added 2 Conference Player of the Year candidates to their roster from the transfer portal, but Coach Walton did it with Corby Otis and Erickson.
Erickson's jab, she pops it up. What a job by Lily Backus. A leadoff double by Falby. She gets Otis, Wallace, and Erickson.
Those types of things in the postseason, but what kind of start was that for your team?
That was good. Obviously, Keegan going out with a 1-2-3 inning, set the tone for us well. Had a good at bat. Corby had a good at bat. Kendra hit the ball hard. But yeah, it's nice to see. Skylar's been really starting to heat up here in the last couple weeks.
Keegan just took home SEC Freshman of the Year honors. Her first postseason, though. What was the message to her before this tournament started?
She warmed up a little earlier than normal, I noticed. So I think for her, it's just being able to get out there, get as close to her routine as possible, get all of her pitches in, get all the nerves out, and then go out there and just compete. But one thing I've really grown to love about Keegan here, especially down the stretch, is she really wants the ball, and she's starting to really, embrace that, we'll call it pressure if there is. But I've really been impressed with how she's handled her success.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you. Go Gators.
And Tim Walton said something very similar to us this week. Alyssa, he gave her the option on Sunday against A&M. She wanted the ball. Had some surgery on her legs. Tim Walton said, look, it's hard to be 100% pain-free when you're a college softball player. That's okay. You can still compete. You don't have to be perfect. You can let up a run. You can let up a hit here and there, but don't give in. Don't let one run turn into 5. Right now, Keegan Rothrock is not allowed anything. Heart of the Georgia order here, and she jumps ahead of Kearney 0-2. Kearney, Mosley, and Kuma, 2 first-team All-SEC picks. And Cindy Kuma, who is a former All-SEC pick.
And when you look at total number of pitches thrown of all Division I pitchers this year, Keegan Rothrock is actually up at the top of that leaderboard for throwing the most. And we talked to Coach Walton of how Keegan Rothrock has been taking care of herself, and he said that she's made that more of a priority and more of a new routine for her.
Kearney to third. Eats up the third baseman Kowalewski. Jada Kearney with a one-hop hot shot for the first Georgia hit.
Oftentimes you see Jada Kearney go with pitches toward the right side of the field, but she can still turn on a pitch too. Struck out on a fastball in that was more up in the zone in her last at bat, and she struck out looking. This time goes up and is able to turn on that same pitch down the line, hit it hard past Kowalewski.
Sarah Mosley a little bit late on strike 1. Well, Mosley's got 16 home runs. Georgia's far from finished. 78 homers on the year, tied for the most in the SEC with Florida coming into the game. Wallace had the Gators 79th. When can the Bulldogs answer? They've got Mosley, the 5th most RBIs in the history of the program. Massive slugging percentages every year. 2 years ago hit 17 home runs. Last year hit 17 home runs. This year sitting on 16 home runs. Only Alyssa DeCarlos hit more home runs as a Georgia Bulldog than Sarah Mosley, who puts one in the air to second here, and it is caught. It is officially a catch for Mia Williams. That was ruled by the plate umpire Smokey Eds. So the out is recorded on the pop-up. Either way, it was going to be the first out as Williams went to get the force at second, but the out is called on the catch. But now Jada Kearney's being sent out, so Tony Baldwin needs an explanation here, because Kearney, who was the runner, is being ruled out. Smokey Ed signaled for an out at the plate after talking to Marty Abzishin, the first base umpire. They have ruled that it's actually an uncaught ball and that Kearney's out, but we saw the out signal immediately from Smokey Eds.
Yeah, I thought that that was on the transfer, not on the catch.
mean, it's a matter of who's going to be the base runner here, Kearney or Mosley. Tony Baldwin is not happy about this.
Yeah, not happy at all. And you'll notice too that actually Tony Baldwin is in the dugout, and JT D'Amico is coaching third base. Amber Freeman is coaching first base, and Sarah Mosley now running back into the dugout.
I think we've got a double play here. I think the call is an out at second after the drop, and then Mosley didn't get down to first in time.
I'll just see that again. I just so easily, I didn't even question it. I thought it was a catch, and then she dropped it on the transfer.
I mean, he called out immediately. He raised his hand for an out immediately on the catch.
Wow. Okay.
Center field, Sydney Kuma. That's definitely an out.
Can you take me through that last sequence, how that inning ended? What did they tell you?
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy play. Evidently, the home plate umpire called the batter out. Yeah, so the batter was out, and then nobody knew. So then when they were both at first base, the runner stepped off and got tagged out. So that made it a double play.
Looking forward to starting the bottom of this fourth inning and then the rest of the game. How do you generate some offense right now?
Yeah, I think we're getting the pitches to hit, and we're just not putting a good enough swing on them. So, you know, ultimately we just got to keep fighting the fight and battling and believe that we can do it and try and make something happen.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, we appreciate an explanation from Tony Baldwin. I think we need to look at this one more time now that we've gotten that. An absolutely bizarre play. Watch Smokey Ed's the plate umpire. The batter is out, so Kearney, the runner, is live. Kearney dives back into first, but then Kearney starts to head back toward the dugout.
The craziest part about this is that in the Florida A&M series, I called that series, and Florida also had a double play for what ended up being an infield fly, but it was a fly ball to Mia Williams. She dropped it. I'm not going to go into too many details, but then they ended up having a double play because of this weird, confusing rule. So this is now back-to-back games for Florida that they're having a really weird play involving a fly ball to second base and with Mia Williams, and having the call go their way, and I guess end up being called right, and that the home plate umpire was the one that made the infield fly call on Sunday, and Smokey was the one that made the out call here today. And it's difficult as a runner at first base and coaching first base to know what's going on and see that, because everything is happening behind you with the call and in front of you with the play. So it's very confusing, but Florida's defense has benefited twice now in 2 games from that.
By the way, after that first pitch, Smokey Ed's just warned the Georgia dugout, which is still frustrated about that call. So 2-1 to Reagan Walsh, pulled foul. Ultimately, is that on Kearney, the runner, for not knowing the situation? Is that on the first base coach, Amber Freeman, for not getting the runner back?
You know, I've thought about this a lot, and I think it's just a confusing play in general, one that you just don't see very often based off of where the play is called. But I think the first base coach has a slight onus to be the one that is kind of being the eyes for the base runner and communicating about what to do, because as a base runner, you're kind of reacting to the play and what you see. And Jada Kearney thought that she was out at second base with the tag. Just really confusing. I'm telling you, the same, very, very similar play happened on Sunday against A&M. And it just is a difficult read as a base runner to know what's going on when everything is happening in the field, but the person who is making the out call is at home plate.
So a double play via abandonment of the base. And now Reagan Walsh in a long battle here, drills one foul. Walsh second in the SEC, 809 slugging percentage and her 16 home runs, the most of any player on the team with the most home runs in the SEC. 2-2 from Lily Backus. Another foul ball. That's the fourth two-strike foul ball in the at-bat.
Reagan Walsh kind of gets lost in the shuffle of the top 5 hitters for Florida. And you look at her numbers and what she's done this year with 16 home runs, 59 RBI. Such a big power year for her. Coach Juan told us too, with this power, she's always hit for power, always, and travel ball as well. But it's really been controlling herself, her emotional stability, and not getting caught up in the other parts or people of the game. Just a very focused and process-driven player.
Right now her process is make sure every fan leaves this stadium with a softball. There's a souvenir.
And a smile.
30 singles on the year, 30 extra base hits on the year for Reagan Walsh, who takes a grounder for ball 3.
And last year she just hit 8 home runs and had a .310 average. This year hitting for a higher average and doubling that home run total.
Back us into a corner here on 3-2. Walsh drills it fair finally. Took a dozen pitches before Walsh demolishes a single through the left side.
Coach Walton also said about Reagan Walsh is that she can hit the changeup and she's really good at hitting with 2 strikes, as is a lot of players in the Florida lineup. They're tough with 2. Reagan Walsh sits back on that changeup and just drives it to the left side. That was a well-struck ball with 2 strikes on a slower paced pitch. Lead off this inning with a single.
Avery Gels will pinch run for her. Reagan Walsh, the 3rd best 2-strike hitter in the SEC 364. And by the way, the top 2 are her teammates. Erickson's 382 with 2 strikes. And then Corbiotis is an insane 455 with 2 strikes. And the first team All-SEC pick does her job with a base hit. Gels will take over for the time being on first. Ava Brown with a big rip for strike 1.
Yeah, you got to be really careful with Ava Brown up and her power there toward the bottom half of the Florida order. 12 home runs. Also easily could have been a candidate for SEC Freshman of the Year with her teammate Rothrock. Because the majority of those home runs that she's hit this year have been in SEC play. I believe 8 of her 12 home runs, 12 RBI in SEC play, which was good enough for 5th in the SEC. So in terms of offense for Ava Brown, she easily could have been considered for SEC Freshman of the Year. Brings it in the circle too.
Ball.
She's only hit 1 home run in Gainesville this season, 11 of the 12 away from home. Brown, a slow ground ball. Backus bobbled it. That took away any chance of getting the lead runner, Gels, who scoots to second.
Number 29, Katie Kissler.
So runner in scoring position now for Katie Kissler. Lily Backus has really settled in since that 2-run home run by Wallace in the first. Junior is back in her home state out of Peachtree City, Georgia.
Ball.
First year at North Carolina had a 6.41 ERA. And then improved everything. 2.79 ERA a season ago. Started 33 games. Won a ton of innings in her career. It's a second team All-ACC pitcher a season ago. Kissler in the air and foul for strike 2.
Coach Tony Baldwin was talking just about the way that she processes information and how Lily Backus is such a consistent thinker. She's the same every single day, uber competitive, and because she's a consistent thinker, it helps make her performances very consistent with what she brings in the circle. You know what you're going to get out of her.
For Georgia team that's 9th out of 13 in the SEC in pitching. Backus has been their go-to hurler time and again this year. Kistler a little out in front. And it's Shelby Walters from another school down in the Triangle a couple of years ago. Grad transfer from Duke. Now Backus from UNC. Stars Mill High School in Peachtree City.
Ball.
Was an early high school graduate to go get her college career kick-started at UNC. But decided to enter the transfer portal after 2 years. And she is so thrilled to be back home. 3-2 for Kistler. In the air to right field. That ball drifting toward foul territory is caught by Kearney. And Gels will tag up from second and get to third on out number 2. Here's a freshman, Kowalewski.
Ball down.
361 2-out hitter this year for Ariel Kowalewski. Well, that came against Georgia. 3 hits, 3 walks. Popped up out of play. Tenth 2-strike count of the game for Backus. She's retired 6 of 9 Gators in the first batch of 2-strike counts. And make it another. Up the ladder to get Kowalewski. Strand a run.
Able to give a different look late in the season to be more down the zone with her drop and changing speeds.
Sarah Gordon unloads on the first pitch. A towering fly ball foul.
I thought, Kevin, these numbers were pretty telling, but back in February and March, opponents were chasing her rise ball 40% of the time, had a 33% swing and miss rate on that pitch. And then in April and May, again, opponents getting more used to her, more video on her. That whiff rate went from 33% in February and March to just 14%. So getting fewer swings and misses on that pitch.
0-2 fouled away by Gordon.
But she's been able to find different ways to get outs, find different ways to win, and she still is in there competing every pitch. Like Coach Walton said, she wants the ball. See that her numbers went up, the opponent batting average, the amount of strikeouts that she was getting.
Gordon a dribbler to third. Kowalewski makes a play at first.
Between innings, guys, you've seen Rothrock wearing this Venom wrap. I asked her what it does for her. She said it keeps me loose, it's heated, it vibrates. The old ladies I share the studio set with who still play ball said it really helps with recovery and making sure you're ready to go. So just a cool little tool she's been using today.
Alyssa, I got a question for you on that. Since you've been down there for a while, would you consider yourself a Venom wrap, baby powder, or a cooling mitt kind of gal?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I might be team baby powder because, you know, it also adds a nice clean smell, and you know, I appreciate a good scent
dual
along with the
purpose.
tool, you know.
Do you have a ladder over there, by the way? Are you trying to get a better view?
I'm standing on the wall right outside the dugout.
I think Alyssa, the baby powder would do really well with the bug spray and suntan lotion combination.
Oh my God. How about the sunburn? I've just been getting crushed all week.
When players in the dugout are asking if you need sunscreen,
that's when you know you screwed up. Hey, you need tickets to this gun show, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
1-2 for Jaden Fields, designated player for Georgia. Rothrock 4 1/3, 1 hit, 2 walks. And Fields saws one out of play. She had one of the 2 walks, a 9-pitch battle in the second. Off speed, bang toward the middle and through. Jaden Fields, who did not start on Wednesday night, has reached base both of her trips to the plate.
Good piece of hitting there by Jaden Fields. Another 2-strike hit for Georgia as well. This changeup is up in the zone, and it made it easier for Fields to be able to make 2-strike contacts, shorten up with that pitch, and just put it in play in all the right spot, right back up the middle for a base hit.
Second hit, 4th base runner for Georgia. And now the freshman Emily Digby. Only a .215 hitter, but Tony Baldwin says she's the best .215 hitter you'll see. It's just a freshman. He said she really makes her hits count. Nobody gets more production out of her hits than Diggs does. Started every game at first base this season.
Inside.
Tying run at the plate, 1 out in the 5th. Quarterfinal number 3 here at the SEC tournament.
Ball out.
Ball 3.
Emily Digby, what's been impressive about her is just to play a new defensive position over at first base. Natural shortstop. They put her at first base, though, this year as a freshman.
Digby in the air to right. Hit pretty well. Hit back toward the wall. And gone! A 2-run opposite field shot for the freshman. Emily Digby picks up the Dogs in a game where a shutout had been. It's 2-2 in the 5th.
Digby finds herself in a hitter's count, a 3-1 count, and gets a pitch that is a mistake by Rothrock. Right over the heart of the plate, didn't hit a corner, and it goes over the head of Kistler. That ball just continued to travel. Got lucky, by the way, that she did not pass Jane Fields, who was right at first base. That got really close with the base runners there, as Fields was holding back at first to see if it was going to be caught, and Digby was right there watching the ball go over the fence. Tie up this game.
Her first hit against the Gators this season. 0 for 6 before that swing. And Emily Digby answers Skylar Wallace's 2-run shot in the first with a couple ribbies of her own.
And this is this newfound belief, what it feels like for this Georgia team. And Coach Walton is going to come out and talk to the team right here. But in that 14-inning game, we heard from Georgia players and also from Tara Henry from Softball America.
You know, just to piggyback on what Amanda was just saying, Jada Kearney and Sarah Gordon were both on the set with us after winning that 14-inning game over Auburn. They said one of the other things they kept telling each other was one swing away. We're just one swing away. This is a team that knows they can hit the long ball. They obviously do that to win the game, but they said also watching that LSU-Alabama game and the way that ended only reinforced that all it took was one in that case too, but they got it done.
Listen, 8 runs in the tournament, 6 via the home run for Georgia. One more look at the home run by Digby.
It's one of those balls you weren't sure if it was going to, but it just got over the glove of Kistler in right field. But I think that Georgia and LSU are really similar. They both have great offenses when everything is clicking, and they both have tons of senior leadership on their team. And also, they both played their best maybe early on this season and then kind of had their struggles more in the month of April.
Good night. Perfectly slapped. She picks up a base hit. The Dogs' 3rd of the inning.
But they're both playing well here at the SEC tournament and starting to find that belief and starting to pull out that talent and that mindset that they know that they can win. Not hope, not think, but that you have to know in the dugout that every hitter that goes up, that you have a chance to win, get back in the game, and that you believe and trust in each other the way that this Georgia team has the past couple of games.
Go ahead runs at first. Good night. Jaden Goodwin's first at bat of the game. She came in to play left for Chambly defensively. Only Mackenzie Wooten's up in the Florida pen. She's only thrown 11 2/3 innings. Ava Brown, though, has been throwing. Brown was taken out of the field this inning. Avery Gels, who had pinch run for Walsh, came in to play first. Brown moved to the designated player spot. It would be a shock to see anybody other than Rothrock and Brown in this game. So first at bat of the game for the sophomore Goodwin. Takes one low. Good night's on the run, and she is safe. Only the 7th stolen base against Jocelyn Erickson this year. Oh, Tim Walton is going to call for a challenge.
I think, and rightfully so, that throw was...
The call on the field was safe. Florida is challenging that call. We'll go to review.
That throw was absolutely on the money, and I think that this has a good chance of getting overturned. To me, I thought for one of the looks that the tag ended up beating her hand to the bag. Skylar Wallace trying to position herself in front of the bag. I think that the tag beats her, looking at where she's positioning herself to try to not block the leading edge of the base, which would refer to obstruction. So you can see her plant herself, look like a good angle. I think this one might get overturned.
After review, the call on the field has been changed. The runner is out.
Wow.
That is Florida's first challenge.
They don't tug on Superman's cape.
And go down and make a tag. So something that they've worked on this year with Erickson and Wallace. And then having Erickson try to throw it through second base instead of to second base. That adjustment has led to Erickson being the best catcher back behind the plate, throwing out would-be base stealers.
A 2-2 game. There's a new Georgia pitcher. It's Madison Kerpix, and she just hit the number 9 hitter, Mia Williams. So an inauspicious debut to the game for Kerpix, who was a dog in relief. 7 1/3 innings in relief. And a 14-inning win on Wednesday night. Lily Backus does her job through 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. Strands a couple of walks as well. And now Kerpix, the senior, facing the top of the Gator lineup with Kendra Falby. Game threatened to get away from Georgia very early with a 2-run Wallace homer, 3 batters into the game. Lily Backus shut down Florida for the next 3 innings after that. And it's Kerpix in relief with Georgia and Florida fighting for a spot in the SEC semifinals. And the first 5 pitches have missed for Madison Kerpix.
Seen Kendra Falby swing away more this year. Slapper, likes to use her bunt. But even in a bunt situation, showing full swing.
Falby with runners on base is hitting .475. Had a double in the third inning, her 80th hit, most in the SEC. Falby swings away, and another pop-up induced by a Georgia pitcher. That's the first out of the inning. It's the fifth infield pop-out for a Florida hitter today. Here's Corby Otis. She squares to bunt, takes one up and away. Well, Madison Kerpix was absolutely amazing in extra innings. Extra innings on Wednesday night. Throwing 98 pitches.
Ball.
Gave up 2 hits, a walk, 3 runs in 7 1/3. Struck out 4. Even more impressive, she hadn't pitched since April 14th at Kentucky. She'd missed about a month with an illness.
So Florida did not see her in the regular season.
.3-0 for Otis here. Already walked once in the game. The 7 1/3 Wednesday night, Kerpix's longest outing of the season. After that month off, through 7 innings against Murray State, February the 10th. Slightly different environment. Up high to Otis, she walks for a second time. 2 free passes in the inning. And
so Wallace won the first at bat, and then Lily Backus struck her out in the second at bat. Now she has to face a new pitcher in Kerpix that'll give her new looks.
The 276-foot homer to center her first time. Gets a rise ball to start from Kerpix for ball 1. And then off speed for a strike.
Now we mentioned that Georgia throws the most changeups out of any Division I team. They all can throw it. Shelby Walters, Kerpix, as well as Backus. You saw her start the game and throw that changeup a lot.
Gators hitless, runners in scoring position. And a back-to-back changeup spun by Kerpix, both at 54, both stuck right on the outside edge. Now the menu's wide open. In the dirt, good stop by Gordon, 2-2.
And falling behind, Kerpix has on the first several hitters that she faced.
Little more swing and miss for Wallace. Still, though, 38 walks, 16 strikeouts. Still an amazing year. 2 on, 1 out in a 2-2 game. And Wallace takes one way high for ball 3.
Got to be so careful here. It's hard not to get predictable with that changeup, but it's a pitch that she's been able to throw for a strike. So see if she goes to that changeup here on a full count if Wallace is looking for it.
Wallace belts one the other way to left field, and that ball is off the fence. Goodwin couldn't get to it. A late breaking Williams is waved around third to score. And Skylar Wallace drives in her 3rd run of the game to put Florida back in front.
Let's take a look at the pitch sequence from Madison Kerpix going up against Wallace, the last year's SEC Player of the Year. Fell behind again, but 2 changeups back-to-back got her back in it. Then she wanted to see if Wallace would chase that changeup. She didn't. She stayed patient, worked it to this full count. She throws her the changeup again. She's ready for it. It's up in the zone, trying to throw a strike, and Wallace makes the adjustment on that swing.
Ball.
So the SEC Player of the Year from 2023 has driven in all of the Gator runs. 2 for 3 today to kick off Florida's SEC tournament, and now the SEC Player of the Year in 2024. Try to add to it. Erickson drills it. That ball is demolished. The Player of the Year with a 3-run shot to the trees.
This is why the top of their lineup is so good. They are patient. They have great approaches. They know what they're looking for. Throwing Jocelyn Erickson here, she has proven this year that she can take this pitch over the right field wall so easily. When you go inside, you have to be so careful. That is a mistake. Erickson's looking for it. She knew it off the bat. And Erickson extends the lead for Florida in this inning.
Looks like the voters got it right.
Hell yeah, let's go.
73 ribbies now for Jocelyn Erickson. 56 games. And a 6-2 lead for Florida, with all 6 of the runs driven in by Players of the Year, by players who transferred into Florida from other Power Conference programs. Wallace and Erickson with 3 apiece.
Ball.
By the way, Skyler's was 276 in the first inning. We thought that was a long home run until Jocelyn Erickson hits one an estimated 284 feet.
Wow.
When we get that kind of reaction out of you, it is something special. Shock and awe. And Tony Baldwin goes back to his starter.
Ball.
Ava Brown takes one low from Backus. 3 RBIs for Wallace, 3 RBIs on 1 swing for Erickson. The 3 and 4 hitters for the Gators, with monstrous afternoons, monstrous mornings. Game that started at 10:32 a.m. local. A Florida team that's just been sitting around here waiting to play for a long time.
Ball.
There's a delayed steal at second base, and it was too delayed. Avery Gels cut down by Sarah Gordon.
Have to be so careful now with the fact that you can review the runner leaving early. Avery Gels didn't look like she got a great couple of first steps off the bag. Good throw by Gordon.
Erickson threw out a runner in the top of the 5th, and now Gordon in the bottom. She's thrown out 6 out of 17 base stealers this year. So 2 very stingy backstops. Tim Walton said to us earlier in the week, this season's been cyclical. We get our butts kicked, then we kick butt and repeat. They score the first 2, they give up the next 2, grab the next 4, and they're back in control.
Ball.
And the winner of this game will play again today against the winner of our upcoming final quarterfinal between Texas A&M and South Carolina. 35 minutes after the ending of game 1. 3-2 popped up, out of play by Ava Brown.
I'm sure all these teams just can't wait to play somebody not in the SEC next weekend in regionals. The bracket will come out on Sunday. The seeds will come out. We'll know who's paired with who for super regionals, and off we go. But that first weekend, they won't play each other, and they'll be like a breath of fresh air.
And Florida's fighting for an SEC title and also fighting for a top 8 seed. Didn't play a terribly difficult non-conference on the whole. A little bit of a younger team. Tim Walton was okay with that. Brown down swinging. That ends the inning. Backus gets the final out. But Florida.
24 years young. It's amazing.
Yes.
She's awesome.
Thanks, guys. And yes, of course, we have to wish Amanda a happy whatever 24 whatever birthday.
That's right.
I was waiting to give you a special gift before wishing happy birthday, but I'll just spoil it right now.
Oh boy.
The gift is a third game.
Yep.
We get to do Texas A&M and South Carolina after this, which many people have been texting, calling me about. I'm getting messages on Instagram. People are saying, are Amanda and Alyssa going to be okay? Scarborough Lang Bowl coming up.
That's true. And Karen Johns back here.
That's right.
I don't know. I feel like the South Carolinians are ganging up on me.
Is it South Carolinians or South Carolinians?
I don't know.
Just out here asking questions. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Right center field. That ball's drilled. Whoa! Jada Kearney, in the blink of an eye, takes one the opposite way. And Georgia's not done swinging the big stick. Couple of home runs for the Dogs. Kearney with number 19.
And this is a spot that Jada Kearney likes to hit these home runs. To right center field, you see these right-handed power hitters for Georgia at their home field and on the road. Drive the ball to right center field. More of a line drive for Jada Kearney, who told me that she's hit home runs her whole life. She hit her first home run at age 9. That's a young age, but she's always been dropping bombs.
That is the SEC leader in home runs. Jada Kearney with number 19, and Sarah Mosley looking to follow her up, and she does! Back-to-back pitches. Kearney and Mosley put the Dogs right back in the fight.
This is why you can't count them out, because you've known that Georgia has had this explosive offense, especially with Kearney and Mosley right there in the middle of their order. Over 30 home runs combined between the two. They go back to back. Mosley turns on this pitch to left center field or right under the scoreboard. Kearney goes to right, Mosley goes to left, and all of a sudden, Georgia is within 2. Keegan Rothrock did not give up an extra base hit last weekend in her 13 innings pitched against Texas A&M. Not one extra base hit in this game. She's given up 3 home runs.
The last 6 batters, Digby, Kearney, and Mosley. Sarah Mosley with her 17th home run, second in the league. The only player with more, the player who hit one the pitch before her, Kearney. And those next 5 outs are going to be a tough 5 outs to get for Keegan Rothrock at Florida. 3 home runs on the board for Georgia, which jumps back in front in the home run column in the SEC. 81-80 ahead of the Gators.
Good.
Last night in the wee small hours of the evening, when Haley and Tori and Alyssa were doing their SEC Now show, I think I heard Haley McClenny say she thought Georgia might hit more home runs in the game because they're a little bit more reliant on that. I do believe we heard Haley pick Florida to win before the game today, though. Right now, Georgia has more home runs. Florida has the lead. It's almost like she knows a thing or two about softball out there.
I've heard a lot of numbers and scores at this point, but didn't she say the exact score was going to be 7-5?
I think 7-5. I believe we're getting thumbs ups from left center field.
Wow. And 6-4 right now.
9 runs on a home run today. 1-2 blasted out of play by Sydney Kuma. Everybody on the top step in the Georgia dugout. That ball right back to Rothrock.
This gets on her so fast. Watch how she gets her glove to this pitch. Right now it's thumb up, and then she twists her glove over for more of a backhand. Brings her elbow up, brings her glove over. Boom. That's quick reactions to change your glove over that quick to get to that position to catch it.
Sarah Gordon. Rothrock can't catch this one. Base knock Gordon, and Georgia is going to bring the tying run to the plate.
It's like Tim Walton might be thinking about making.
It's Jaden Fields. Fields is nearly hit with the first pitch ball from Ava Brown. 9-pitch walk in the second, 5-pitch single in the fifth. Fields goes chasing that low change. "15 home runs in the regular season between Georgia and Florida, average of 5 a game. 5 more today. We did promise you dingers. We had said we had everything in this SEC tournament except lots of home runs. Georgia's hit 3, Florida's 2. Another home run would tie the game, but Fields is deep in the hole. Ball 2. 4 1/3 innings against Georgia this year. Brown allowed 8 runs, 7 earned, and 3 home runs. Sixth pitch to Fields, 2-2. Swing and a miss. Ava Brown gets her and ends the inning. Games will be completed today. Missouri and Arkansas finish the final 3 innings. Now Florida and Georgia, A&M, South Carolina. Then we'll turn it over to the night crew. Beth Mowens, Michelle Smith, Jessica Mendoza, and Holly Rowe for the 2 semifinal games. And then the championship tomorrow at 5 Eastern, 4 Central on ESPN2. There are the Aggies, the last team yet to play. South Carolina, which won Wednesday against Mississippi State. What a weird tournament. Texas A&M has gone 1-9 all time at the SEC tournament, and yet here they are on semifinal Friday, and yet again they haven't played a game yet. 2-1 to Kistler has popped up. Sydney Kuma puts her away. Kistler's 0 for 3.
The games have been so good. I mean, it has been just a really weird tournament in terms of delays and extra innings and delays and rain. But I mean, when we've had games being played, they've been really good games.
LSU, Tennessee was a terrific game yesterday. Both the 14-inning games, of course. Missouri, Arkansas, great 6th inning there. Arkansas loaded the bases with nobody out, down 2. Couldn't push through. Best is probably yet to come, given the history of this tournament, given the teams involved. 1-1 for Kowalewski from Lily Backus, who got through 4 innings, gave way to Madison Kerpix in the 5th. Kerpix gave up 4 runs in a third of an inning. Backus relieved her. 92 pitches in, and she gets a swing and a miss for strike 2.
And Lily Backus has done a nice job of adjusting in this game to the game plan of Florida, going more to that curveball and rise ball, and she wants to get her changeup swing and misses down here out of the zone. But this red area below that line of the strike zone has been what Florida has been taking. So she's been able to adjust by bringing that changeup a little bit more up in the zone, because Florida doesn't look real interested in hitting Lily Backus' changeup. So that's allowed her to throw it more through the zone. They're not chasing the pitch that she wants them to chase.
An awfully impressive performance, especially since Florida saw her not too long ago, a couple of times in the regular season. 3-2, Kowalewski just barely knocks that out of play.
And that's the example of the location of the changeup. Her bringing this pitch more up in the zone and still fooling Florida, because with 2 strikes, they're going to have to swing at it. And Kowalewski way out in front, just getting enough of that pitch to extend her at bat to this next one.
That's inside. Kowalewski walks for a second time against Backus. Skaters with a 1-out base runner. And Tim Walton is trudging down the line for his substitution. Kentucky used 8 position players off the bench on Tuesday. Florida has 8 players on the bench total. That includes a couple of relievers. Tim Walton doesn't mind having a smaller roster. A lot of at-bats for the key players. Wilkie 8 for 33 on the year. 359 on base. Strike 1 and the 100th pitch from Georgia's number 99, Lily Backus.
Ball.
That's a good pitch. Not sure where that one missed. Maybe a little bit low, but man, that's a good pitch. An important one too. That 1-1 count, to go from either a 1-2 count or a 2-1 count, hitter's count or a pitcher's count, is just so pivotal.
Emily Wilkie 1 for 9 as a pinch hitter this year. All the RBIs off of their bats. Erickson and Wallace, 3 apiece.
It's that pitch that we were talking about with the changeup, swing and miss heat map down in the zone. Lily Backus wants Florida to swing at that pitch, but they've had great discipline on her changeup down. It's when it's its most effective, but it's been trying to adjust.
3-2, Kowalewski at first, and Wilkie powers it. Another one! 6th home run of the game, and Emily Wilkie, in a pinch, puts the Gators back up 4. Her first home run of the season gives Florida some late game breathing room.
Just punching back and forth in this game. This pitch is out over the plate. Lily Backus had to come more on the plate in that full count, and the fact that Wilkie didn't chase the changeup the pitch before. She has to bring it up. She added more speed, and Wilkie gets on time with that pitch, trying to eliminate that changeup. Lets her bring in the curveball and get on time with the curveball to send it out of this park and strike back.
Emily Wilkie's first home run since April 29th of last year against Ole Miss.
Even had like a little bat toss or bat flip off the bat too. Coach Walton was smiling real big too. Must feel like a different form of a win, right? When you pull the right string, bring in the right pinch hitter, pinch runner.
Especially on a bench so thin, you have to be so sparing and so specific with those decisions, and Tim Walton, as he often does, got it right. Falby down the line in left field, and there is Goodwin to take her away for the second out.
And Emily Wilkie, just a level swing through that curveball. I mean, you see the little toss there. She knew, and I love that reaction from her too. This Florida team, they're having fun swinging the bat and just scoring a lot of runs.
Ball.
And an offense at 1 through 9 and off the bench can beat you in a lot of different ways. Speed, power, left-handed power, right-handed power.
Right side, Corby Otis down the line. That ball's off the glove of Kearney in fair territory. Otis motoring around toward third, and a stop sign right there. It's a triple.
It's actually her 4th triple of the year if it's going to hold. It was right down the line, and Jada Kearney looked like she was right there, and that does indeed look like a fair ball, but it hits off of her glove. Looks like we are going to have a review, though, because that was so close. Corby Otis went with this pitch, barreled it up, and was sinking extra bases, and for sure a triple as soon as she saw it get past Jada Kearney. But because the ball was called fair on the field, they have the ability to review it. If that ball was called foul, you could not review it.
For the review, the call on the field has been upheld. It is a fair ball.
Third time on base for Otis. 2 walks and that triple.
All these extra base hits in this game for Florida. Just looked like she didn't extend her glove enough. You saw when Kearney was running, there was a little bit of a bend in her arm, and that was the difference of it hitting off the end of her glove versus getting in the mid of her glove in the pocket. Now you have to face Skylar Wallace after that.
Two-run homer and an RBI single for Wallace. And that ball belted up the middle. It just sounds different off her bat. 4 ribbies in the game for Wallace. It's 9-4.
I just love how Skylar Wallace, watching her swing and how she just uses her lower half to generate power. How inner leg she is, drives her backside. And on time in this game, you know, her home run went to dead center field. That line drive right back up the middle of the field.
Ball.
So Wallace has 3 hits, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored, all in a day work for last year's Player of the Year in the league.
Well, and speaking of last year, Coach Walton had said last year Skylar Wallace was our only hope. And you do think about it, they had Kendra Falby and Charlotte Eccles, but it seemed like Charlotte Eccles had a little bit of a down year, and Falby was good. But when you think back to last year, Skylar Wallace was such a big part of their offense. But this year, he says we have a better supporting staff around her statistically, and she hasn't had to carry the only load.
Erickson to right field. That ball is going to hang into the park. And Kearney's there, 15-8 with a win here. This would be a great win for the RPI. Georgia is number 6 in that metric. So if you go just by RPI, Georgia would be in much better shape than Florida. RPI's 6, Florida 12. How could that change though if the Gators win a few games here? Texas A&M or South Carolina next. LSU, Missouri, who are both top 8 teams. One of them will be in the final. But despite a non-conference schedule that's a little bit weaker than many of Tim Walton's years, his team's played so well in conference play. Just swept Texas A&M, playing well down the stretch. They are certainly not out of the mix for a top 8 seed. Chance to be a double host. Emily Digby to left field off the glove of Otis. And Digby dives in with a double. 5 runs the deficit, but Georgia has put up a 7-run inning against Florida this year, in an inning that was partially pitched by Brown. So this thing is still far from over.
I do think it's interesting, Kevin, to compare Florida and Georgia and their RPI, strength of schedule, and both kind of vying for a top 8 seed. Florida doesn't have as high of an RPI as Georgia. They have the check in that box, but Georgia has played a stronger strength of schedule on the year. And then also you have to consider the head-to-head matchup. Florida has the win in the series, so 2 wins there and looking for a 3rd here, and that head-to-head matchup is another piece of the criteria.
Yeah, Florida wins 3 out of 4, and the resumes are comparable. That could take them over the top. Lindy Ray Davis is the pinch hitter. Georgia is a testament to why the full season matters. Their best points on the resume, what they did in Clearwater in the 2nd week of the season. They beat Wisconsin, then they beat Oklahoma State, UCLA, and beat Florida State 20-10. So 4-0 with some really, really good wins. Split with Virginia Tech in the non-conference, split with Cal, beat Clemson. Lost a tight game at Stanford. So they really challenged themselves. The RPI at 7 right now for Georgia. Strength schedule's up to 2.
That non-conference strength of schedule is important. You mentioned that Florida isn't as strong, and Georgia would win in that category of the criteria. Played a stronger non-con schedule.
Ball down.
3-2 for Lindy Ray Davis. Now the selection committee has a lot of criteria. We don't see where you finished in the conference in that. So even though Georgia finished 7th, Florida finished 2nd, that is not a data point, which is why Florida may have a little work to do, even though they finished 5 spots ahead of the Dogs in the SEC. And they've still got some work to do now. This thing is far from finished. Davis with a walk. And Armistead is going to re-enter the game to run for her. So 2 on, nobody out. And the tying run is in the hole right now for Georgia. Ava Brown trying to collect Florida's final 3 outs before a semifinal game for the winner tonight. Strike 1 to Dallas Goodnight.
It's definitely not over until it's over, and with these offenses and having a few outs to play with here, especially top of the lineup up for Georgia.
Ball. Ball out.
Remember what happened on Wednesday night. Down 3 in the 14th. They were not deflated. They were not defeated. They kept the energy up. They scored 4 runs to walk off Auburn in the longest game by
Into a game.
I mean, 3 for 39 over a 12-inning span, and they still win the game. Scoreless from the 1st through the 14th. 12 left on base, and 4 hits, 2 homers, and a walk-off at 14. 2-2 for Goodnight. Little dribbler toward the middle, gonna get through. Base hit, Dallas Goodnight. The first 3 are aboard in the 7th, and the tying run will move into the on-deck circle with nobody out.
Well, you know, a difference in these past 2 games, too, is seeing Tony Baldwin, the head coach for Georgia, in the dugout. He's their hitting coach, has coached third base throughout all the past couple of years since he has been the head coach. But JT D'Amico moving from first base coach to third, and then Amber Freeman going to first. Wants to talk to the hitters more about in-game adjustments, what they're seeing. Just kind of be in their ear a little bit more. When you're coaching third base, you're just kind of on an island out there. But Tony Baldwin was an assistant coach and the hitting coach for Lou Harris-Champer for years before he became the head. They love hearing from him. He loves talking to them and getting them in the right mindset, going up with the right approach, being able to talk closer to them when they're in the box because he's right there in the corner of the dugout.
1-1, Jaden Goodwin. Popped her up.
Infield fly.
That is the
Batter's
first out of the top of the 7th. A big one because it means Jada Kearney cannot tie it.
Got her out in front with that changeup right there.
Kearney named this morning the first team all SEC. 19 home runs, leads the league. Another changeup. Quickly 0-2 for the freshman Ava Brown. First team All-American a season ago with 19 home runs. Strikes out swinging. Ava Brown brings the Gators within and out of victory.
Coach Walton said that Ava Brown is her best in the bigger moments. Really none bigger than this. Going up against one of the best home run hitters in the country. She goes right at her, back-to-back changeups, and then that screwball. 3 pitches and an out, an important second out for Ava Brown.
And now it's up to Sarah Mosley, who takes one inside. Sydney Kuma now the tying run on deck. Mosley with a home runner last time, on base twice. Just needs to get on base anyway, anyhow to give the Dogs a chance. And with the bases loaded this season, you can't get her out. 6 out of 6 in this spot for Sarah Mosley. Mosley pops it up on the infield. Williams is there, and the Florida Gators, after a long is Jaden Fields. Fields is nearly hit with a first pitch ball from Ava Brown. 9-pitch walk in the second, 5-pitch single in the fifth. Fields goes chasing that low change. "15 home runs in the regular season between Georgia and Florida, average of 5 a game. 5 more today. We did promise you dingers. We said we had everything in this SEC tournament except lots of home runs. Georgia's hit 3, Florida's 2. Another home run would tie the game, but Fields is deep in the hole. All 2. 4 1/3 innings against Georgia this year. Brown allowed 8 runs, 7 earned, and 3 home runs. Sixth pitch to Fields, 2-2. Swing and a miss. Ava Brown gets her and ends the inning.